Conversations with Niki is brought to you by studyapps.co.za, South Africa's leading education app for tablets. Well, welcome. This is Conversations with Niki, and I'm Niki Seberini, and I am very, very happy to be with you, and thank you so much for tuning in. I'd like to welcome our syndication partner listeners. That is Radio Today in Johannesburg. It's Chai FM, Eldo's FM, Timaning Stereo 89.1, Kawi FM, West Coast FM, MC 90.3 FM in Plettenberg Bay, Neisen FM, Wild Coast FM, and Bay FM. Welcome. And I hope that you're well and that you're having a pleasant winter, and you know that you're not feeling too down. I'm always very affected by the weather, and when winter starts, I find myself getting into this deep, dark depression just because it's cold and it's awful, it's horrible. But that's me, and I don't know if you're the same or if you're one of those who really, really enjoy the winter. So what better than when you are feeling a little bit bluesy and a little bit cold than to just sit back, relax, and have a show when it's light and it's lovely, and we have such a funny, wonderful man joining us today on the show who has just been awarded with a Great Achievement Award, and you know, it's a real treat. So Mark Banks, comedian extraordinaire.
In winter.
Darling, in
Mark
winter.
Banks in
Mark
winter.
Banks in winter. You never thought you'd been sold that way.
No.
Mark Banks in winter.
No.
How does it
It
sound,
is
though?
winter.
It is?
And
you are Mark Banks.
I am Mark Banks, and it is winter.
So
and we're going as far as Plettenberg Bay live now.
we're not live now?
Oh.
Yes,
Yes,
live now. Yes.
in winter to Plettenberg Bay.
Yes.
I think it's raining there today. I think they're having a deluge of rain.
Are they?
Yes. But it's winter.
It can't be good all the time, though, Mark.
Well, that's nature, and nature is very vicious. And as much as what there's sunshine and dancing on the beaches and golden sunsets and beautiful flowers, and well, you have to have the other side. You have to have the reverse to that. So we have to have this, so we get the summer. I think if we don't have this, we wouldn't get the summer.
But that's so philosophical. I mean, that's quite
It is. I'm going very
serious.
deep today.
Did you
so I've
decide
just walked
that
through a nursery,
Okay.
not full of little babies and mothers and
No.
nurses and cots,
No.
but a botanical nursery. Do you say botanical nursery?
I would say
a flowery,
botanical.
planty.
Flowery plants. Isn't it beautiful?
Yes, very, very nice.
It's special.
Yes,
Kind
they
of-
have got a lot of specials. In fact, some of the
did-
stuff they're nearly giving away. In fact, they're quite desperate.
Oh, will you show me, perhaps,
I will.
when we leave?
But I mean,
Are
that
you
sort of
into
stuff-
gardening, Mark?
A little bit. I am, but I'm not. When I do, I do
What
it.
does that mean?
Well, when I do have the time to do it, because I tour so much and I'm away from home so much of the year that I don't really have time to do anything, really. I kept a cactus once and it died.
You have to be committed to your plants, to your
You
garden.
have to be committed to your plants. And
But
that's
that's
our
good
message
news.
for today, I think.
Yeah, committed.
Commitment to your
plants.
in winter. And I think if you need help with this, I think people should phone in now and we can help them commit to their plants, or send a donation to the number we'll be giving you later.
Thank you,
on
Mark.
in the program.
I love this.
In winter.
I love
But
this.
and then when I spent time at home, I overwatered the cactus. The cactus got water soakage, titanic rot, and drowned and died.
So in other words, if anyone ever wants to send you anything,
Don't send flowers.
don't send flowers or a plant.
No, don't send flowers.
In any
plants.
way
Send
or
books.
form. Did you
I'm a
get lots
bookaholic.
of? Oh, are you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'd like to talk to you about books, but before we get there,
Yes.
did you receive any books, any flowers and plants in congratulations for winning your award?
Yes.
You've just been just
Well-
been recognized by the comedian community.
Yes. Well,
Which it doesn't sound so good.
it sounds good.
Being
doesn't it?
recognized by the comedian
The
community.
comedian community.
Should we
If-
rather put it the right way? At the Comic Choice
The
Awards.
Comic Choice
That
Awards.
sounds
The
better.
comedian community, if you saw them, you'd actually throw money at them. You would think these people were being taken away on a double-decker bus to a place that's just been declared an independent homeland, where these people...
Really?
Yes, these people are, they're desperately lonely.
Okay.
A lot of them have manic depression, deep depression, attention deficit disorder. They're dishonest, they lie.
That
Some
is
of
a
them,
horrid bunch.
well, most of them are quite horrifying. And some are fantastic. Some are really, really great people. In fact, it's a mix. It's a normal mix
Thank
of
goodness for
life.
that.
Only
Thank
when
goodness.
they're bad, they're really, really bad. And I was.
But when
I
they're
must say,
good,
I was very, 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 very knocked off my chair when I heard that it was me, because I was sitting next to Joe Mafela, who I thought was Joe Maffello or Cuthbert Fries or Leon Schuster or...
Were those the nominees?
I think there was about 25 who were on the list. I think, and I'm only,
Okay,
I'm
really?
only 55.
Okay. Oh,
I know.
Ooh, so you weren't sure if that was a compliment
and I
or
thought
an
I could
insult.
get a few more years because everything's working. In fact, working very, very well. People were marvelling at me in Casualty the other day at Johannesburg General.
Why? Because everything's just working so
Everything
well?
was working so well.
What were you doing at Casualty then?
I went to have some lint removed from my navel.
Okay.
But it wasn't...
How come you couldn't just remove that lint?
Well, I didn't know it
yourself?
was lint. I didn't know it was just a bit of fluff because I panic. I'm a terrible hypochondriac.
So you saw fluff in your navel and
Yes,
you went off
I
to the
panicked.
hospital.
I didn't
You
wanna
didn't just
touch
try and put your finger in there and
No,
pull it
no,
out.
no. I was too scared.
Well, what
I thought
worries
if it's
me...
an infection, if it's a yeast infection, if it's something
Okay.
that's deadly,
So
if
it was
it's something...
impacted, the lint. Is that what you're saying? It was kind of...
No, it was all
wasn't
it was all fluffy and just sort of... No, I'm talking nonsense. I'm talking absolute rubbish.
Okay.
Although I did go to Casualty once, having stabbed myself with a pen opening a box, and I couldn't stop laughing. That was probably the worst time I've ever gone to hospital with a pen sticking
Where
into
did
my
you stab
chest.
in your chest?
I was opening a box with that brown paper that they put when they put the flaps down. They put the brown paper, and I had a pen, and I was
all the way through.
and it went through, and I missed the bottom staple, and actually stabbed myself.
Hard.
Hard. Went in about 2 inches. I
No,
don't know
really,
I don't know what
Mark.
that is in metric.
Is really?
Yes.
Well, aren't you lucky you didn't use a scissors or a knife?
Yes. Or
Only a
or
ballpoint
saber,
pen.
or a chainsaw,
Exactly.
or a harpoon. I
There
mean, the
we go.
ramifications are
Horrific.
horrific. And
So when you walked in, was it still sticking out? Or
yes, I was holding the pen in because I remember seeing on CSI, I think it was in CSI San Francisco, a man who'd stabbed himself with a knife and fork. He'd had a knife and fork in each hand, and he fell backwards in his chair, or he thought he was going to fall backwards, and he stabbed himself in either side of his chest with a knife and fork.
Yes.
And they said the best thing he did was to keep the knife and fork in.
Why?
Because that's the bung. You see, if you take it out, then you're opening it up. It opens
And then it's
up,
going to
then
just bleed and bleed and...
bleed and bleed, whatever organs are there, whether you could stab with a knife and fork sitting in a
So
restaurant.
this unhygienic...
So I had a
knife or
pen, so I
fork, and
kept
you
the
had to-
pen in.
Yes.
And thank goodness that night I was very near the Mill Park Hospital. Can I say Mill Park Hospital?
You can.
I think it's Mill Park Clinic. Mill Park Hospital.
I don't know. Going
Is
to
it
go
Mill
with what
Park?
you say. We're not going to argue.
Mill Park.
Mill Park.
Thank goodness that night I was just near there, and I literally ran across the road with the knife, with the pen sticking in me.
out. Yes.
Sticking in me.
Yes.
And I was on. I had medical aid in those days, so I could do it.
Sure.
So
Thank
I thought-
goodness for that.
Yes, I would sometimes build up my voyage miles on my medical aid so I could use a helicopter on it. It was such a good medical
Gee
policy that
whiz.
I had. I got 120 miles a year. So every now and then I'd get a helicopter
You
ride.
could call it in.
Yeah, I'd call it in. I'd
And
get-
were they just available? I mean, we're digressing, but I mean, you know, they would just arrive when you needed the helicopter.
Yeah, no, well, I did it once a year on Adrian Gore's birthday. He ran
Okay,
Discovery, so
I'm sure he was
I'd get a
happy with that.
helicopter from Olivedale Clinic to his house in Houghton, just because I could.
How wonderful.
It was.
So let's go back to...
And then he gave me free movie tickets,
Did
which was
he?
also something you get free with them.
Oh, discounts when you went shopping, perhaps?
Yes.
All of that.
And I had the pen stuck in me,
Yes,
and
yes.
I didn't want to take it out. And everyone said, no, you can't have a pen stuck in you. Why have you got a pen stuck? And I was opening a box and the pen stuck in me. And needless to say, they did say it was one of the best things that I could have done was to keep the pen in, because if I had pulled it out and it had ruptured something, the whole thing
you would have bled out.
Yes, and I didn't know which organs I'd hit, because I didn't do biology in school.
Mark,
So it was sort of
so we're really taking you seriously.
mid-body. So I didn't know whether it was
Mid-body.
lung, I didn't know whether it was liver, gallbladder,
Spleen.
kidneys. I don't know where any of the organs
And?
are. Well, they took the pen out,
Mm-hmm.
and while the pen had been in, where the pen thing, it hadn't leaked, so it was
The
fine.
ink
but it
wasn't,
had,
so there was no poisoning. You had no ink
but
poisoning.
in my running, they can actually see on my liver, the bottom left-hand part of my liver,
Yes.
I'd actually written
Yes.
that week's lotto numbers.
My goodness.
Which was, it must have been a sort of psychic intervention, or someone just sort of lady luck playing a part there.
Oh, gee whiz.
And they said that these are the numbers here. It was 2, 7, 11, 23, 41, and think the extra ball, I think, was 5.
And when did
and
you
the
discover
nurse
that?
who was on duty, who
Yes.
worked for Lotto, said, "Good grief, that was last night's
Um,
Lotto numbers. If only you played
So
them."
So what did you think? I mean, how did you respond? Did you think, but why did this happen today and why didn't it happen yesterday? Did you?
I don't know.
you
I
feel
think
like
it's because
you've
I
been
opened
hard
the box
done
that
by
wasn't
that?
for me.
Oh, I
The box had
see.
accidentally
So it was
been
almost a
delivered to me.
punishment.
I think so.
Okay.
I think it does work like that.
I hear you.
I do believe
What
in all
a
that.
story, Mark.
I know.
My goodness.
I know.
That's an adventure.
So what happened when they announced the Lifetime Achievement Award, South African Comics Choice Award, to get back to our earlier subject of Windsor and Johannesburg, and I think, what was it, bonding with your plants? Bonding with your plants in winter? I was very, very, very pleasantly surprised when I did win it. I was knocked out because I didn't think many of the comedians liked me. Because I've been around so long.
So when you stood up, did you do the Sally, what's her surname?
Fields.
They like me. They really like me. No,
I said, you miserable, horrible, awful people. You could have given me a few years before you give me this.
Because I'm not going anywhere.
Well, I mean, lifetime achievement, I always thought it means your life is more or less over, isn't it?
It's like you're backing down.
Yes, you sort of get
You're walking
wheeled
away,
in. You know, it's like
glamorously.
at the Academy Awards every year, they always manage to bring out someone who you thought was dead. Without fail. Ladies and gentlemen, the Academy presents John Wayne. And you think, who? No, it can't be. And they brought Charles Chaplin out for a Lifetime Achievement Award winner. I think it was the year he died. He was about 85, 86.
So I hear it was an honor.
It was an honor.
But however, you do feel it was a little premature.
I think it's a little premature. I'm
Well,
very thrilled that I got it now. I'd hate to get to 77 and not get it. Then I would have to go out and start
Well, at
burning.
least, people forget, so at least you got it now. But I have on the line
I'd
Tafia.
have to go out and burn a macro down.
I have on the line Tafia Kite.
Yes.
From WACT Management.
Yes.
Because she manages you, doesn't she?
Yes.
It must be very difficult. I have
it's
to
not.
ask her. Hi,
It's not.
Tafia.
Hello.
Thank you. Thanks so much for joining us. So, I mean, is he difficult to manage, Mark?
Mark Banks?
Yes.
No, Mark Banks is an absolute dream. He's always very professional and fabulous, and I have to say this because he's sitting next to me.
Yes. No, carry on. He's liking it.
No, we only manage people that are professional and are reliable and fabulous. And Mark was just a given to be on our list of artists that we look after. He's an absolute dream to look after.
Oh, Tafia.
Did you hear that, Mark?
Tafia, thank you. You've never told me that before.
But why is it that we don't tell one another these things? Why do we have to have this kind of a situation where you hear how she feels about you?
Well, it's fantastic. And at the back of a nursery on Jan Smuts Avenue
you
on a
see,
Thursday
you
afternoon,
see,
on a
you
cold
see.
winter Thursday afternoon.
Cold winter. Tafia, so Mark seems to think that, I mean, he was delighted that he received this Lifetime Achievement Award, but he seems to feel it was a little bit premature. What do you think? He's got a lot more in him.
Yes.
Mark still has many moons and of comedy ahead of him. So perhaps it is premature, but I think it's because it's voted for by the other comedians. They all know Mark because he will do the club gig. He doesn't just do all the big shows and the corporate events. You'll see him at a club. He'll be performing next to newcomers, and he's accessible and. He's an icon, really, in the comedy industry.
He is.
Isn't that a
He's so happy,
Thank
Tafia.
you.
He's really loving this.
Oh my God. An icon. Isn't that an IT app? Is that an application for a phone thing? An icon? Yes?
No.
There we go.
Oh, we're having a bit of a problem with the sound, Tafia, so we can hear you on and off, unfortunately. So because of that, we're going to say goodbye, but we're just going to thank you very much because you manage Mark exclusively, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Yes. Okay. Well, as you said, he has many years ahead of him.
Yes. What was the fee we agreed that you were going to pay me for saying this stuff?
7 guineas.
Oh, am I still right?
7 guineas. 7 guineas, and I'll bring your car back. I promise. I'll put petrol in.
A shilling and a hat pin.
2 shillings and a hat pin. I never brought you the hat pin, did I?
No, you never did.
Promise
never
next
did.
time. Then I'm going to have to go overseas again.
Well, yeah.
Thank you, Tafia.
Thanks, Tafia.
Okay.
Lovely
Thank
chatting.
you. And thanks
Go
to
well.
all at WACT.
Whacked management.
No, thank you, Mark.
No,
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Our next caller is my mother, who's calling from.
Thank you, Tavia.
Behind.
Bye-bye. I don't know what was wrong with the sound there.
I don't
but
know.
I feel like I can finally hear you again.
Why was that? Was it Taffy's line?
I don't know, but we're hoping that it was a problem that we can fix.
Okay. When does this get broadcast?
Solomon's going. It is being broadcast.
Is this going out live now?
Yes.
Are we on air now?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
I thought we were just chatting.
Did you? I know. I know.
thank
That's what we
goodness.
try to do. You see, we
Oh.
try. We want our guests to think that we're just having
Oh
a
my
little
goodness.
chat,
I
but
don't
we haven't
see
started
any tape
recording
recorders
yet.
doing anything. Or I don't see any
We've
lights.
hidden them, Mark. We've hidden
we
them.
on air
You know
now?
that red light that goes
Yes,
on,
yes.
and you know it looks green right now.
Yes.
We've specially done that.
Well, those are the traffic lights on Jan Smuts, aren't they? Those for the studio. So we're live on air now. Oh, good grief. Thank
Mark,
goodness I
thanks.
didn't mention anything about
Thank goodness.
my past.
Yes. Well, we're going into your past
Diamond
because it's
dealing,
been
car theft.
25 years.
Yes.
25 years of comedy.
25 years of comedy, but I went straight into theatre when I left school.
Because you started really
Young, I was 15,
11 years
15.
old. No, but you started performing.
Performing. I probably
when you-
started performing when I was about 5.
So let's play the song and see if it rings a bell. I'm not sure if it's going to. He's looking at me confused. Wait. What's it? What memories, Mark?
This
Tell
is
us
the
while we
Seekers.
play it in the background. Yes.
This is the Seekers.
What were you doing when you used to
I was
listen
letting
to
their
the
car
song?
tyres down because I loathed the Seekers.
Did you?
They're all so happy. That's the real thing. That's the way it'll be. And they came to a theatre near me in Cape Town in Plumstead. And I just saw this huge truck, the Seekers written up the side. It was like a bus. It was like
Yes.
a touring bus thing. I let the tyres down.
Did you
Yes,
really?
yes.
That's
And the worst thing
evil.
was, the next day it was a huge thing in the papers. Seekers bus vandalised, tyres let down deliberately. Couldn't be a puncture. That would be one tyre. Is it because they've broken the equity ban by performing in South Africa?
And it was little old you.
And it was me, and of course I couldn't tell anyone. I couldn't say,
No.
that's me, I did that. That's the worst thing. It's like when I used to burn down macros. I couldn't tell anyone it was me.
Okay.
So if someone...
I think we're just going to edit that, Solomon. Don't
Yeah.
let anyone know that.
No,
it's been
I'd
done.
like them to know.
Oh, you don't mind?
What, the Seekers bus?
Well, no,
I don't know why I did it,
The
actually.
macros,
I don't know
actually.
why I did it.
Oh, the Seekers. How did you let how does one let tyres down?
You have a
put
pen. You press the inside of the
Yeah,
tyre.
pen again.
The
It's
pen.
something
I
that you
always
use,
have a pen
always
on me.
a
Always
pen.
a pen or something sharp,
Okay.
or something that could cause harm to anything.
All right.
Even a cucumber or a half-eaten potato.
That could be used?
Yes. Oh, good grief.
A half-eaten potato?
Half-eaten potato in a sock.
Really?
In a sock swung around and just lobbed at someone's head. You could cause havoc.
Not if it's baked.
No, not baked. It has to be
raw.
raw, solid potato. Potato in a sock. You could take someone's eye out. You could crack someone's skull.
You've thought a lot about that, Mark.
Yes,
Which is a little bit worrying.
Well,
I mean, I'm finding it a little bit disconcerting.
I often have situations where I think, now, I wonder how I'd protect myself here in this.
Oh.
You know, I've been in a City Lodge hotel toilet. And I think, I wonder how I could protect myself now, or I'll be on top of a roof.
This sounds like a terrible Oscar Pistorius moment.
No, not at all. But I'm constantly thinking of how I would protect myself, or what I would do with that object.
Really?
If I had to protect myself. Yes.
And
all
so
the
that
time.
kind of started when you disliked the Seekers and you let
No,
their
I
tyres
didn't
down.
dislike the
So
Seekers. I didn't dislike them at all. I don't know why I did it. But I couldn't get in to see the show. I think, if the truth be told, I think I was probably very jealous that my parents wouldn't buy me a ticket to go in and see the Seekers, and everyone else was going to see them. I think that's what
well,
I think it was jealous
understand that.
rage.
Okay.
I think
All right.
Kerry Nell would probably point out that it was jealous rage, and I did it because I was angry.
Yes.
And I was very, very frustrated not being able to see them, and so as vengeance to the other people who were there, and to the Seekers for being there in the first place, to let down their tyres.
Have you ever thought of, I don't know, apologizing?
No. I was going to.
Because
Many
it is quite
years.
a healing thing, because I can see that you still...
Many
you're holding on to
years later, they were on in Manchester. I was in England, and they were on at the theatre in Manchester, and I wanted to go and see them and say, I don't know if you remember coming to South Africa 23 years ago to a little place in Cape Town called Plumstead, the Three Arts, and somebody let your bus tyres down. Well, it was me. And I thought it wouldn't really do anything. The strangest thing was that I did go
be
to
arrested.
I did go to the theatre to apologise to the group, and I didn't. The stage doorman wouldn't let me in, and this is a terrible story, and I'm only telling you. So the bus was parked up, and I let the tyres down again. I did. I did it twice.
It's one thing to do it in South Africa. You don't do that in the UK.
Twice. I couldn't believe that, and I don't think that's happened to any group anywhere in the world that has toured that extensively, with a 23-year gap to let all the tyres down. And I thought maybe they will remember that happened in Cape Town 23 years ago, and they could have traced it down.
Well, let me ask you, did you know what you were doing at the time?
Yes, when I did it, when I let the tyres down.
You did? You knew?
Yes. And
did you have your pen on you?
Yes, I had 2 pens then, because I've been visiting people, so...
Sure, and you didn't get caught?
No, never been caught. They probably wondered if it was the same person, I think. Because when you're young and growing up...
if they maybe... Well, now with the CSI, they could see the tiny little ballpoint markings, you see.
They could.
And
they
then
always have
go
camera
take it back
footage.
to the 23 years ago.
They have camera footage. This always slays me. When they have camera footage of people that you can never see who it is. Yes, we've got footage of the people, but when you look, it could be the Loch Ness Monster's mother, disguised as the abominable showman going through the 3-inch thick plated glass of the bank. It's just like a blur. It looks like John Logie Baird's first television picture.
And I think it's such a good point. Not only that, it's always in the top corners.
Always in the top corner.
So you're seeing the crown of someone's head.
You see the peak of their cap.
You can't actually see what they look like.
Not at all. You see the peak of their cap. No, it's too easy. It's too easy. But with cell phones now, everyone's an instant photographer. Everyone can take pictures of crimes as they happen. I do like that when you see things on the telly where the reporters weren't there, but this is cell phone footage of someone who was there. That's fantastic. That's
quite interesting.
Immediate the
it's
news
changing journalism, isn't it?
Yes.
How is it changing things for you as a comedian? So when you stand up and you've got people with their mobiles and they can take pictures and they can tweet immediately, how is this technology working for you?
It's going so fast. It's frightening. It's happening before it's happened. You know, kids watch the Letterman show, the David Letterman show from last night in America, in the playground. In their lunch hour or during science, they can watch it on their phones that they have. They can.
Isn't that scary?
Download streaming. When I was growing up, and I don't want to sound like when I was growing up, but when I was growing up, and I did, we used to have things called records. But before CDs, you get LPs and albums. Do you remember that? You remember
I remember. I've still got them, Mark. Let's not stick.
Right, but and they would come
age direction.
You'd have to sort of reserve them at the record shop, and then they'd arrive, and you'd go in and get the Solomon, the controller here, so he's looking at me.
He doesn't know what you're talking about.
I may as well be
We'll explain it later.
Hindustani backwards to a Swahili scarecrow that had just been landed by the Strawberry Foundation. And you get the record, and that would be about, what, 45, 50 minutes on an LP, long-playing record? Now kids get everything instantly. I mean, Google and blogs and tweeting. Everything is instant now.
Instant.
That Facebook picture that they took in the foyer early of me holding Peter Lotus, I mean, that's all over the world now, isn't it?
All over the
Director
world.
Emeritus, I saw. Is he still here?
No, and he is, yes.
Is he?
He is. He is.
I didn't Google him before I came in.
He is.
And now you can Google people, can see what you've done your entire life.
Instantly, as
you say. It's quite incredible.
Well, we're going to go back to this youth of yours, because I want to know more about the performing, but we've got someone else who's joined us.
Oh, no.
And I think we're having a problem with our phone lines. We've got to try and see what we can do on that side. But let's chat to him, because we do have him on the line, and it's Ndumiso Lindi.
Yes.
And we are so delighted to have him, the very classy comedian, on the show. Ndumiso, are you there? I hope we can hear you.
Yeah, what's going on?
Hello, how are you?
I'm good.
Excellent. So what do you...
The Amazing. The Amazing, Ndumiso Lindi. How many of those ads have you done? There's just endless. There's more ads than pizza choices.
They keep reinventing them.
Fantastic.
You're not complaining?
No, but the money's coming in. I don't mind. That's amazing to me.
Yeah, baby. So listen, have you worked with Mark? How much? That's terrible English.
How much?
How much have you worked with Mark?
How much have you worked with him? That's good, isn't it?
I don't know. Well, the answer, and let's answer the question.
How much I've worked with Mark? 250.
250.
250 is good. 250. It was 4, now 250.
Now 250. Listen, Ndumiso, we're gonna phone you back. This is a shocking line. We can hardly hear you. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna hope on our technology side. I'm hoping someone's listening to me and they can do something with the lines, because
there's someone outside digging up cables. I see that.
Look, there he is. He is.
And on it says microphone to studio cable.
Should we ask him to?
Hang on.
I'm not going out there.
They've got a cable. They're digging up the cable. I'm being serious. Outside in the.
They are.
They're stealing the cable from the. Or digging it up. I don't know if they're stealing it.
I hope we'll be on until the end of the show. I'm not quite sure.
We may have to stay in here and be professional witnesses and give evidence in the trial.
Well,
has that ever happened before? Cable theft while speaking to someone, they're digging up the cables. Hey?
I think cables go for a lot of money these days.
Good grief! They say most crimes do take place in the workplace, and here we are at work with the cables being.
It's happening as we see.
Good grief!
But they're being very neat about it, aren't they?
Yes.
Have you noticed how well they've packed the cables on the side?
Yeah, but
I think they're going to fill the whole.
Yes. Which is how most criminals get away with crime.
Should we just ignore them and hope that they don't?
I think I would.
They don't affect
I ignore everything.
Okay, should we continue?
Yes.
To see, I mean, we'd love Ndumiso to join us again.
Ndumiso.
But you were talking about this advert. Have you noticed how many comedians are in ads?
Yes.
What's happening with that? I mean, that's great.
You know, if something's funny, people remember things that are funny. Funny sells. People like to smile. People like to laugh.
So we've got a bank. We've got an insurance company.
Yes.
We've got
pizzas. Jacuzzis, home loans. We've got cell phone.
Have you done any, Mark?
Yes. Not recently. I was the baker. I was the baker's man for years and years.
I do remember that.
You see, there we go. Thank you.
You see.
And I've done bits and pieces. If it comes along and it's not going to do any harm, why not? It's all work.
It's all work is work.
I think
work is work. And also, besides that, people love to laugh.
A lot of them say, no, I won't do an ad.
And really?
Yes. And then they'll...
But they're not just once-off ads. I mean, you're creating this character. This is a lot of money. This is good money.
Yes.
It's good money.
Can be.
Who would walk away from good money?
There are a few people who would do that, who do walk away from money. I've never understood that.
Well, we apparently, the problem is on our side. So we're going to try Ndumiso again.
Right.
We're going to try him again. No, there it is.
There it is again.
It's that particular channel. That's the channel.
It sounds like a long-playing record with a bad needle.
Yes.
Just before the song starts on a record.
Okay, so we're just going to carry on talking, and we're hoping that whoever is stealing that cable theft outside will just knock it back into place.
Right.
And then everything will be okay.
Okay, it could be the sprinklers, the nursery sprinklers.
It could be damp, rising damp. It could be all sorts of things. So, Mark, let's talk about you.
Yes.
So you started performing very, very young.
Very, very young. I was born in Manchester. My parents emigrated to South Africa, so I had to follow them. I was 8. To Cape Town. I grew up in Cape Town. I left school at 16.
Why so young?
I was just a child prodigy.
Okay.
And
I mean, I'll go with
no, because I think we started school earlier in England, and when I came here, for some unknown reason, they didn't bring me down 2 years. So instead of going into standard 2, having done standard 4, I went straight to standard 4.
So you were with older children?
Yes.
And how did that affect you?
Fantastic.
Was it good?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
I mean, they always say that it's good to be the eldest in a group, but you were always the youngest.
I was younger with older children, and I was the bully. I was the
You were the bully.
I was the school bully. Can you
it's all
believe that?
It's coming together. The puzzle's coming together.
I didn't bully.
Tires to
I didn't bully, but I had lads on the payroll who got fizz bars, curly whirlies, and now and then, if it was a big job, a steak and kidney pie.
So how did you do that? I mean, how did you identify who would be the ones who...
Well, anyone who tormented me, teased me, and just sort of generally sort of boring, sort of intolerable people would sometimes get a potato in a sock to the head.
In a sock?
Yeah, that's where I learned that
raw
one.
potato, half-eaten.
The potato in the sock. So if you bang someone on the head, or you smash a window, do whatever, when they do look at the crime scene, sort of CSI, come along, and they look, they say, well, there's just a sock lying here, and there's a sort of mouldy old potato, and they wouldn't think...
No, they wouldn't.
No.
They would see an innocent little potato lying there.
It's like the Roald Dahl story with the woman who killed the husband with the frozen chicken. She actually bludgeoned her husband to death with the frozen chicken.
And then?
When the police came to investigate, they said it's going to take a while as we investigate the area and the kitchen where this sort of bludgeoning took place. She said, "Oh, well, that'll be fine. I'll be cooking lunch. I'm going to do a lovely chicken and some roast vegetables." And she actually fed them the chicken. Roald Dahl.
And wasn't he lovely, Roald Dahl?
Loved Roald Dahl.
Oh, Roald Dahl.
I like the madness of it. So when I left school, I knew I wanted to perform. I didn't want to act. I didn't want to be an actor. I didn't really want to be a comedian, because comedians in those days just stood and told jokes.
Yes, it was very different.
It was very, very different. So I got into theatre stage management. I was an assistant stage manager. I was an usher, very bad usher. Usher with attitude, which got me promoted, funny enough. So we can't have him working face to face with the public and being so rude.
He's far too valuable.
Far too valuable.
We need to put him where the popcorn is.
No, they put me on the program selling. I was the program selling and ushering. And then after the shows, if they were very, very busy, I'd go round the auditorium and pick up programs that they'd left, and take them up to wardrobe, iron them, and then resell them at the full price.
You are brilliant.
Yes,
you're a businessman. Listen, we're going to take a break. We're going to be right back, and we're going to continue with the story of the wonderful Mark.
I see those people digging up the cable at the windows now. They're
Quick
at the
break.
windows, and they're making sort of they're pointing out throats, sort of drawing a line.
Get the potato.
I think that's.
Does anyone have a potato? I've got a sock.
Hang on, I've got a sock. Hang on.
Hi, my name is S.V. Prinsloo, and I'm the HOD of IT Integration at Bridwin Preparatory School in Melrose. We started using study apps about 6 months ago and have seen astonishing results. We were quite amazed to see how quickly the kids have been able to use study apps and the benefits it has shown with regards to reinforcing what they've already learned inside the classroom. I would highly recommend study apps for any school.
Studyapps.co.za. Well, welcome. This is Conversations with Niki. I'm Niki Seberini. I'm having a wonderful time.
Niki Seberini.
Seberini. Yes.
Where's that from?
It's Italian.
Is it Italian? Not Neapolitan.
No. Northern Italian.
Northern Italian.
Seberini.
Treviso.
Osoppo.
Oh, they're very good. I was there I was in Genoa last year.
Were you?
Genoa.
Did you enjoy Italy?
Yes, loved it.
It's wonderful. But can I welcome our syndication partner listeners?
Yes, please.
Just very quickly.
Just quickly, because they're in some very dodgy
Let's welcome our syndication partner listeners. Radio Today Joburg.
Radio Today Joburg.
Timmening Stereo 89.1.
Timmening. Right.
That's in the Northern Cape. Eldo's FM, Chai FM, Kawi FM, West Coast FM, MC 90.3 FM in Plettenberg Bay, Neisen FM, Wild Coast FM, and Bay FM. Welcome.
Thank you.
I have the wonderful Mark Banks.
Is Amanda Forrow on the one in Neisner? Does she do the Neisner station? What is that called?
I'm not sure.
Radio Neisner.
It's Neisner FM.
Neisner FM.
She could be.
How simple.
Is she living in Neisner?
Yes.
What a life.
Yes.
What a life. But you travel all the time.
Yes.
But it's different to being on holiday and relaxing. You're working.
Yes.
But is this work for you, Mark?
It is. It's hard. Part of the hardest part. Of that part.
The
hardest part one of the hardest parts of the business is the travelling. My brother is absolutely gobsmacked when I moan about how tired I am from travelling. He says, "Last week you were at Sun City and you've just come back from the Wild Coast, and now you're going to the Kruger." I'm like, "Yes, but I'm going to work." It
sounds exciting.
I'm going to work.
It's work.
So you have to go from doing your lunchtime gig in Johannesburg on a Tuesday afternoon at 2. That night you have to go to Mafeking for the launch of the new party launch party, whatever that they do. And then get from there to Cape Town for breakfast the following morning, and that night be in Johannesburg, and the following morning go to Emashahleni.
And there's no one to water your plants.
And no one to water the plants.
I hope you don't have a pet.
Anyone at home. I had a pet. The pet left. Pet ran away.
I can imagine.
Yes,
neglect.
The pet lives with someone from Sevenderland now.
Okay.
I think from watching so much television, it decided the best place to go would be Sevenderland, and that's where it went. My brother said, "No, but you go to all these fantastic places." Yes, but to work, you have to get off, arrive, and somehow produce a tuxedo or the correct attire for that night, because each gig is completely different. Sometimes it's in a boma, and the dress is traditional.
Okay.
And then sometimes it's a tuxedo and a bow tie and matching shoes.
Lots of traffic.
All of which you have to take on with you.
Sure.
Yeah, have you ever seen the program Amazing Race?
Yes.
You've
Does it
seen
feel
that?
like The Amazing
Well,
Race?
I thought The Amazing Race was about comedians going to gigs. Because sometimes it's like that. And you're racing to the gig, and then the person who was supposed to have sent you all the information to brief you hasn't. So they actually brief you as you're racing from Mafeking Airport to the Mafeking Conference Centre, and they've brought the wrong brief, so they've actually briefed you for what Sonia Herald's going to be doing the following night for the Burra Kurt Darren tribute evening. So that's completely wrong and superfluous. You can't use that.
I
Then
think
the
we should
car
make a
breaks
reality
down.
show on this.
Well, I thought that's what The Amazing Race was all about, because it's sometimes a bit like that. I quite like that, being on the edge, because I don't have the same act that I do to an audience. So what I do at the DA Women's Lunch in PE on a Wednesday afternoon is completely different to what I do on the Thursday night for the 67 Blankets for Mediva evening, and then the next day go to the launch of the
When do you have time
new
to read?
ice cream on aeroplanes, waiting for the AA to come and tow your hired
Oh,
car
all right.
back to the
no.
back to the hire office, or waiting for your flight, which you were told was at 2, but it's actually at 6.
You're painting a wonderful picture. Oh,
They
no.
put 1600, and it's actually not 4 o'clock. It was 2 o'clock, so they've said 1600. So you got there thinking it was 6 in the morning. So you've got to spend 9 hours at the airport. Ish, which is great fun.
It
Gives you
is,
time to
you
think,
know.
gives you time to think, gives you time to write.
Read.
Yes, read,
Well, let's
write.
ask fellow comedian. I'm hoping we have John Vlismas on the line.
Oh no, not John Vlismas.
Do we have John? No, not yet.
No?
No.
Is he not on the line? They haven't taken the cable yet. I see they've taken the... It's a call box there they've got. Is that the... Could that be...
I think
the studio phone
he's
line?
just run off with it. Just like, I mean, he's just... He grabbed
Unbelievable.
it and he... Did you see how fast he ran?
Yes. Unbelievable. You wouldn't even know it was there
No.
if you hadn't seen it.
I'm so glad I just happened to look up for a moment.
Unbelievable.
Gee whiz. Is John on the line? Fellow
Is he?
comedian, John. So apparently it's only you and I who can hear the crackling.
Right.
The audience can't hear the crackling, and I don't think John can hear the crackling either.
I can
Okay.
hear the crackling.
Can you, John?
Yeah.
No, I don't know if it's crackling. Or
Don't
if
say... Please don't say
it's
crackling if
flatulence
this is
going
going out to Chai FM.
Yeah, don't say crackling. But
Don't say
so
crackling.
what word can we
Is
use?
this the lady from Diskin?
No. Is it?
I'm sure it
No.
sounds like the lady from
It's
Diskin.
Niki Seberini
Hello,
from the
Mr.
top
Vlismas.
of Northern Italy
How are you,
Marble
ma'am?
District.
It's so lovely to have you on the show. Can you hear us properly?
I can hear you perfectly.
Oh,
The
wonderful.
ones
So
that
it's just
crackling
us.
is
Okay, we'll
everyone's talking
ignore
about.
what we can hear in our ear.
It's probably because I'm
John,
pressing my knees together the way I am. That's probably caused interference.
just
Stop
squeeze
rubbing
your
your knees
knees.
together like
Just
some sort of
squeeze
weird-
them
There we go,
together.
it's gone
There. Okay.
Right.
Now, did you hear what Mark was saying about his life being like The Amazing Race? And then I thought about you, because I mean, you are this top comedian, but you're
You
also
think so?
doing yes, and you're also doing these other things. You're like a producer, and you're a director, and you put shows together. And maybe you should do a reality show on comedians.
Mark Banks' Amazing Race.
Yes.
Yes, there's an
Or
idea.
you
keep
know-
it generic. I wouldn't just go with Mark.
I would. I'd
Well,
say
I don't
Mark
know.
Banks'
I really
Amazing
would.
Race. Yes.
You know, I mean, I've known Mark for a long time, and he never stops. He just never... I actually learned how to do 8 things at once from Mark Banks. I once watched him get dressed for a corporate show while he was doing a funny insert on SAFM for Bruce Miller. And I watched him write it, edit it, while he was brushing his teeth. Then while he was flossing, he read it on the radio. And then we went out the door. And then I'd love to tell you what he did in the comedy, but I don't think you want to hear what happened.
No. Yes. Yes. Maybe in the next program, John, we can talk about what Mark did in the comedy.
Mark's amazing comedy moment.
Mark's amazing comedy moment. But you would have loved it, Nikki. It was quite hair-raising.
Really?
But you,
Can we not talk about
I think
that?
all
Let's
comedians live on the edge, don't they? I mean, getting from gig to gig and going from audience to audience. It's ever changing. It's ever so.
Is it like that for you, John?
I think it's quite nomadic. I do think that you never really stop, because I think you're always looking for, because you're a freelancer, you don't get a salary or a medical aid or a pension. So you're terrified that if you stop, then, I mean, isn't that why most comedians just drop dead one day on stage?
Oh, do they?
Yes.
Yeah, a lot.
A lot.
Really?
Some of them die on stage without actually physically dying. They just die.
Oh, they
It just
die.
doesn't work.
I saw a magician the other night at Mishmash who died 4 times in 12 minutes.
Oh.
That is incredible.
When he was a
It's an
magician.
achievement.
It does. It makes Lazarus look pointless, doesn't it?
He walked out to a room of loving people, and in seconds he did an illusion where they became growling, snarling wolves.
Right.
Terrifying.
Yeah, it happens.
I don't want to mention names because I don't think David Felix deserves that kind of bad publicity.
Oh my goodness. But sometimes I think sometimes really, really bad comedians can be better than good comedians when they're really, really bad. I find it hysterical.
But isn't that all dependent on the audience?
Depending on the audience, but sometimes the comedian, if they're using very old material, they're just doing it badly, or nobody knows what they're doing, or they look lost and pointless. And
I'd love to watch all bad comedians in a row on a show.
An evening of bad comedy.
An evening of terribly bad comedy.
Yeah. We were in Montreal once. I think we were talking about it the other night, John.
We were talking about
We went to Montreal, and there was a very famous American TV comedian lady got onto the stage at one of the clubs. And this huge hype, and from NBC's, whatever the series is called, I think it was Caroline in the City.
That's exactly what it was.
It was Caroline in the City.
Good
she
memory.
got onto the stage, and everyone went, oh, fantastic! And then she started talking. Oh my goodness, it was downhill.
That was a big mistake.
It was like the comedy slalom to hell.
So what did she do? I mean, did she recover?
She just died like you've never seen her die, like never seen anyone die ever. The silence.
Oh no.
That silence that you could lean the Trust Bank building against. It was just terrifying. Then she started crying. And then she started crying. She thought, oh, hang on. When all else fails, I'll cry. When she started crying, people started laughing, and then people...
And that's when they started laughing.
Oh, it was just awful.
Oh, no.
Awful.
But as you as fellow comedians, a joy to watch. Brought joyful tears to your eyes.
It was awful, but I loved it.
It's my favorite thing in the world.
Yeah.
That's so cruel, John. That's just nasty.
John Cleese said that unless something has a cruel spirit, it's not genuinely funny. And I didn't know what he meant at the time. But after studying Mark Banks from the age of 8, when I started my thesis,
oh my goodness,
I finally understood what he's talking. Because I used to stalk Mark Banks around KZN. He never tells anyone this, but I was actually like a bit of a groupie. I used to stalk him. Yeah, I even went to the Hexagon Theatre one night and watched Mark Banks play to 42 people. Well, there were 41. He said there were 42, but it was 41.
No, it was 37. 37 and an inquiry.
So did you know that you had this young man stalking you?
No.
You had no idea?
No idea.
So when did you tell him?
For years. I tried to meet him at Legends one night at the Playhouse, but he elbowed past me to get to what I thought was a friend, but it was actually a gin and tonic.
Yes.
And then later
Which was a friend.
Yes. That was his friend.
Yes.
A very good friend.
I'm very bad before a show and after a show because I don't like doing chit chat. I like to get there like a minute before it starts, and as it finishes, I'm gone. Sometimes I leave before I've finished.
Okay.
I still don't know how that happens.
But you still get booked. Whacked is there for you exclusively.
Yes.
And they don't mind.
They don't mind at all.
No. Taffy is happy and John.
And he does bar mitzvahs.
Bar mitzvahs.
Yes. Launches, MCs, corporates, conventions, conferences, and healing. I see Solomon looking at me with even wider. Occasionally, I can heal Solomon. I do.
He's been known to.
After a Mark Banks gig.
John, Marx was a little bit upset though. He was happy about receiving the Lifetime Achievement Award, but he has a bit of an issue with it, and that he feels that he's a little bit too young to have achieved that type of award. Do you think it was an insult?
When you do so much in such a short time of a life.
This is true.
Also, he never tells anyone that he wasn't planning to be alive at this age. He was supposed to be dead at 37.
37 I was going.
And he keeps telling me that all of this is all unplanned.
Yes.
Is this a bonus?
Well, it is. I didn't think I'd live this long. If I knew I'd lived this long, I would have lived better, I think.
Okay, so now...
But now they're telling us we must eat butter. We must eat butter now.
Yes, butter. Full cream.
Full cream.
Mm-hmm.
When I grew up, we had cots which were painted with lead paint. You knew that your brother was teething when you saw orange paint on his gums. We ate. We gnawed. We gnawed through wooden cots covered in lead paint while our nappies dried on Capil asbestos heaters. We had lard and duck fat in bowls that we would have bacon sort of floating in this sea of solidified. I know, that's how we grew up.
They're much stronger people, Niki. They never go to discount. You will never see an old person at discount.
We didn't have a discount. We had like a bucket of... You'd have a bucket of... What was that stuff you used to take? You'd have chamomile lotion, and then I don't think Grandpa had been invented then.
Nappy.
Steri nappy. Steri nappy. Sometimes babies, obstreperous babies, will be put in the steri nappy bucket with the lid sealed for a while.
I've seen Mark and some of his friends just sit around and drink steri nappy shooters. It's crazy.
It works. It works. So now they're coming back. Now they're saying butter is good for us.
Yes.
And everybody smoked in those days. Everybody.
Did you smoke?
Yes, I smoked. Chris Barnard performing the first open heart surgery heart transplant.
He was smoking while he did it, apparently.
He had a cigarette hanging out of his mouth. Sister, please get this.
He used the one man's abdomen as an ashtray. It's terrible.
That's right. A ventricle. He actually stubbed out. He stubbed out a Peter Stuyvesant.
That's how he cauterized the
That's how he cauterized the...
It was the first cauterizing of a ventricle.
Yes.
Surgery by real men.
Yeah.
Scalpel nonsense.
Yes. Done by a camel. Done by a camel man.
So back to the question.
Even the Durban July, it used to be the Rossman's Durban July. The horses would be smoking coming down the track. The jockeys had cigarette burns on their silks. And away they go and coming down there with a cigarette floating down his mouth. Hey, and they'd all be smoking. Everyone smoking. The Queen waving on Buckingham Palace with the fags hanging out of the mouth. Everyone. Now, of course, nobody smokes. Nobody eats anything. Nobody...
Well, now
They still make jockeys. Do they make jockeys still?
I think so. I think there's a textile place in Salt River in Cape Town makes jockeys. I think. Quick joke there, listeners. And to High FM listeners, sorry about the mention of crackling earlier, but it was referring to radio interference. And nothing to do with a pig. Thank you.
Mr. Vlismas, listen, we've got to have you on the show again, coming in one of these days.
He's been on before.
He has been on before.
John Vlismas has been on radio today.
Yes, he has.
Good grief, it's like seeing Eva Braun at the Tel Aviv Dog Show. Hey? John Vlismas on radio today.
Yes, I've been through that nursery.
You have.
My goodness gracious. Yes, lovely nursery.
Oh,
Lovely
John, thank you so much. It's been so lovely. I don't think we answered any questions.
We're doing
but
the
it's
roast.
been fun.
John's going to be part of the roast next week.
The grilling.
The grilling.
Grilling.
And there'll be no crackling, High FM listeners.
No crackling.
It's a chicken we have, a kosher chicken.
Grilling.
It's a kosher. And it's on Wednesday night at Parker's at Monte Casino. Can we say that?
You've said it. You know, you have said it.
Of course, this is going out live as we speak.
You've said it.
At 8 o'clock, Wednesday, 9th of July. And
Mark Banks is going to be...
And we're giving away
roasted.
2 tablets. We're giving away 2 tablets.
Are you?
Yes. A Panado and an Anodin. Can I say that?
You can say that.
Two lucky winners.
Mark, so a grilling. Mark Banks
grilling.
Grilling. The grilling. Oh,
I
that's going to be I'm looking forward to it.
And it's not being televised, so I think they're going to be very, very rude and
John,
awful.
you're going to hold yourself back in any way or form? No.
Not at all.
No, I can imagine.
Mark Banks is the reason I'm a comedian. So
John.
This is my big night out.
Oh, my goodness gracious me. Thank you, John.
He's getting ready. He's getting ready.
The ones you love.
Yeah, that's true. We know that.
Gently, John. Mr. Vlismas, thank you so much.
Thank you.
As always, it's just so lovely having you on the show.
John Vlismas on radio today. I can't believe that. How did that go down to the listeners?
He was wonderful.
Really? He is very, very
We were talking about comedy in South Africa, and we were talking about, do we as South Africans have a sense of humour?
Yes.
And why is it that we find things funny at the expense of other people?
Because it hasn't happened to us.
Possibly.
So we laugh. It's a relief that it happened to them, which is why we laugh at someone slipping on a banana skin. Ha ha ha.
Is it because we're relieved that it hasn't happened to us?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Or just looks so funny?
Yes. Well, and it looks so funny, especially when it's other people and it's not you. You're just so relieved that it's not you. It's why we all look at car accidents when we go past, especially when we've waited a long time to pass a car accident. And we look. It's been proven. Everybody, in one way or another, does look. As ghoulish as what it is. I do. I look. I make a point of looking.
You don't park your car, though, and get out and gather round.
I don't start taking pictures and things, but I always look. Especially if I've waited a long time.
You want to know what's kept you up.
I want to know what's kept it up. And sometimes it's a company I don't particularly like, and it's like their van all mangled. I think, oh, good.
No,
good.
you don't.
No, I do. If it's a
Should we edit that out?
It's a company that's really upset me. If it's something like, I don't know, if it's something like Eskom or Telcom. If it's a Telcom van, I think, good. There we go. Yeah. I hope they've got through to their helpline.
Ooh.
Your call is, I think, yeah.
Your
I hope
call
they're
is
getting
valuable.
that on their phone.
Please wait.
Yes.
We will attend to your call shortly.
Yes.
Yes. We are aware.
Yes.
We are aware that you're on hold.
I think they're one of the sponsors of this thing, aren't they, Telcom?
Well, they were.
Were they?
They were.
Right.
I'll have to renegotiate afterwards. Goodness. But we have someone else who wants to chat.
Oh my goodness, who is this?
It's like a birthday party.
It is a bit.
But you don't know what's coming up. It's like a surprise party.
This is always a worry.
Okay, let him talk and let's see if you know who it is.
Can you call me on my landline?
Can we call you on your landline?
21.
Oh no, don't give his landline number out. Quickly take the sound down. We do not want his landline.
Huh? Taking his landline down. He's got a landline? A comedian with a landline? Good grief, I don't know who that is. But comedy, people like laughing. People like to be taken away from themselves, and especially if you can make people laugh without. In the 60s and 70s, South Africa was very jokey. We used to get all the overseas comedians coming out who've been doing the club circuits. And
it was a joke, wasn't it?
Well, it was sort of, biltong and pot roast on television, the advent of television.
That. Oh, fabulous.
Of course, radio we'd had Round the Horn, and we'd had the Goons, which weren't political, they weren't really below the belt, didn't make you think it was just silly nonsense. But when we had the comedians who came out from England here, they told jokes. Which the age of the joke is coming back now, believe it or not.
Is it?
Yes, where people tell jokes. I must tell you a story about Mrs. Heimovitz, who in the garden and blah 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 blah, and then they tell a joke that has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Little Audrey, and little Audrey laughed and laughed and laughed because she didn't know umbrellas could go that far up, and all those sort of punchline jokes. They are coming back.
How come?
But that's all we.
How come they're coming back?
I think the wheel turns.
We've moved. I mean, I thought we had moved far away from.
I think the wheel turns full circle.
So it's retro.
It's retro.
Retro joke telling.
I mean, there'll always be room for the John Vlismas of the world and the people who rattle on about current situations. And now emergent in South Africa, which is fantastic, is young people. We're getting young comedians now, young black comics, fantastic comics from the township who do township comedy about township life, getting to and from work, the rituals, the culture and everything they go through. I can't stand on stage and talk about coming to work on a minibus or getting the taxi or when I met my girlfriend's father and he was talking to me about Lobola, and then people go, what? No. You couldn't get a 6'3" Zulu man standing on stage talking about his rabbi.
Yeah.
I don't think. Although there is an Ethiopian division of Judaism that goes back to it predates.
Well, I'm not 100% sure, and I definitely could be incorrect. But is it part of the Lost Tribes?
Yes, the Lost Tribes. I don't know how, but thousands and thousands of years ago it was part of Black Africa. So it's great that the comedy which we do have now is coming from real life. Experiences of real life people who've lived through that, who live in a township, who come to work on a minibus taxi. So, and their audiences can relate to it as well. Well,
our next guest may combine what you were just talking about. Let's see if you recognise his voice. Is he there? I hope he's not giving out his phone number as we speak. Hello.
Yeah. Hello.
He is there.
Hello.
And I want. Yeah, come on, Mark. You know who that is.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Yes.
Yes.
It's radio today.
Hello, Mark. This is Mark Banks.
Speaking.
Hello, this is Dorothy from Bergfleet.
Yes.
I taught you English in 1980.
No. Who is it?
Nick.
Yes.
Niki Rabinowitz, expert on the Ethiopian Jews.
Nick's going to answer the question.
Niki Rabinowitz. I've heard that name.
No, that's what they were called.
What were they called, Nick?
The Palashes. It sounds like a designer eyelash that DDD wears.
The Palashes.
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 Oh, the Palashes. The Palashes.
And they missed 2,000 years of sort of Jewish life, but they were airlifted to Israel in 1985, Operation Moses.
By the Red Cross.
70,000 of them. It was the first time in the history of El Al the passengers weighed less than their hand luggage.
You see? Niki Rabinowitz. You see?
You see?
Straight on.
Straight on.
How are things going there, Nick? Are you busy with the show at the moment?
No, I'm busy trying to make my son be quiet. Let's see how this
goes.
No, it's not going to happen. But we don't mind. Do we mind? We've got people stealing cable outside.
Yes.
We've got...
And not only that, but I don't think Niki Rabinowitz has had any role play in my career ever at any stage.
Really?
Of anything, no.
Role play?
Well, like, you got me my first gig in the Kruger National Park, or you directed my one-man show, The Oompa Loompa Factory Goes Bang.
I actually met Mark on the way to my first theatre production.
Right.
Really?
Yes.
And?
In a small town in the Karoo,
Mhm.
where Mark had temporarily retired to.
Yes. Oh, that's right, in Hanover.
Yes, it was in Hanover. He was employing 4 Afrikaans women to knit woolly warmers. It was the winter of 2000. It actually snowed.
Yes.
And I was on the way to be in a play called School for Scandal.
Are you remembering this,
School
Mark?
for Scandal. Mark had actually played Sir Benjamin Backbite in Peter Turin's 1978 adaptation of the Sheridan classic, so he had a lot to tell me about it. Do you remember this?
Yes.
What a memory, Nick.
Good grief, Nick.
Carry on. This
And
is
you
fantastic.
had long waist-length hair.
Yes, I look like a Rastafarian.
You like a Rastafarian, and you were charming.
And actually, prior to that, because I'd been working for a Theatre for Africa.
Yeah, he'd been working for Theatre for Africa, which meant that he wasn't being paid anything.
Yes, nothing.
He had to build the sets,
I
cut
got
the
food.
costumes. And wasn't there somebody that
I
lived
dug
in the
a
house
long
called
drop.
Elvis? Wasn't there someone there called Elvis?
I don't know about Elvis, but I dug Nicholas Ellenbergen's long drop in Mozambique.
No. Ooh.
That's right, because
my
I
first
didn't
job.
interfere there because I thought you were actually digging Nicholas Ellenbergen's grave. So I thought if you murder him, and I would have been a suspect because I had a lot of pens. I had a lot of pens.
But I actually bought, Mark's was the first stand-up comedy CD that I owned.
Oh,
Because it was at the
really?
bar at 3 Darling Street. You could buy Mark Banks Live for 25 rand.
Hey, isn't that incredible?
Fabulous.
To book into a Karoo guest house and get a Mark Banks CD. I mean,
Yep.
where does it all end?
And then later, when I started stand-up comedy the next year, Mark was actually at my initiation ceremony. Now, many people don't know about this because we've kept it under wraps.
What is an initiation ceremony?
Well, it's to take us down into the basement underneath the underground, which was already underground, and then Mark would come out as Archbishop Banks, and he was in full ceremonial robes, platform boots, everything. And then there was Cardinal John Vlismas, Deacon, I think it was Martin Jonas, and then they blindfolded you.
Yes.
And then you had to put your right hand on a Barry Hilton DVD and say the oath that you never tell a lie in a stand-up show, and then you had to kiss Mark's ring. I'll never forget that
Yes.
part.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of them still do that.
Okay.
Yeah?
So, do you remember any of this, Mark?
I remember, I'm just bringing it all back now, but there was a very, very secret ceremony. That's the sort of comedy Masonics that you're dabbling in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes,
so
yes.
not, as you said, not many
The
people
files
know.
have been declassified. We haven't been able to talk about it till now.
Yeah, but so this is the first time ever.
It's out.
It's out.
It's
now.
out.
This is it.
Yes.
You
And
know.
that was then. How long have you been doing comedy now, Nick? You were what, 15 years?
Well, that was 2001, so that's 14 years.
14 years.
Mm.
And then 10 years after we met, we were at the Royal Albert Hall in London.
Yes, that's right. I remember seeing you
Wow.
during the standing ovation.
Yes, you created the standing ovation.
Yeah. Well, no, we all did. We all did.
A
Many people think, you know-
standing ovation.
Standing ovation.
That must have been
Standing ovation at the Royal Albert
fantastic.
Hall.
It was.
Wow, wow,
And
wow.
then the
That's
funny thing was,
huge.
I think it's the only time ever in the history of South Africa that a comedy lineup had an out-of-town tryout at the Royal Albert Hall before opening at the Grand West Arena in Cape Town. We did the Albert Hall. I mean, it was like something. The promoter was putting it on, a bit of man who dabbled in everything from doing Disney on Fire to bringing out international acts and fire eaters
Disney on
and illusionists and hypnotists, and he'd done comedy lineups, and he said, "Well, we're going to London to the Albert Hall." And we said, "Okay, when are we leaving?" And they said, "Well, next month sometime when we get it."
Yes.
So we never
How
quite-
many of you?
6, 7.
Wow.
Yes.
And you got a standing ovation.
Standing ovation, spontaneous,
Spontaneous.
A
You didn't have to pay a person.
not
a
one
cent.
single soul.
That
No.
is amazing.
Then
I
we
think you
left-
should do it again.
We're going to. We're
Okay.
going back to do it.
Yes.
Are you going too, Nick?
No,
Uh,
Nick's
yeah.
done it.
Is he
We
not?
will- we
Oh,
only-
I shouldn't have brought it out.
We only do those when there's a woman called Yvette in the front row.
Yes, we do it when there's a woman called Yvette in the front row, and then we did the Royal Albert Hall, and then we came back and we toured here, Bafani,
The funny.
which was, I think that was sort of the zenith of the lineup shows. It was just when lineup shows were taking off.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Listen,
And
you
Nick
know,
had just come into his own. Very, very
You
funny
know,
man.
many people think Mark is Jewish, which he is, and he's not. But,
I'm not.
but we're no longer on High FM, so no one cares. But You have to go and see him in Defending the Caveman. Have you seen him in that?
No, Mark Banks Defending
Amazing.
the Caveman. Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
Well, thank you for that, Nick.
Yeah.
Mr. Rabinowitz, we have to say goodbye. Adios.
Thanks for having
Brother,
me.
It's been
brother,
so
brother
lovely.
Rabinowitz, brother
It's been-
Rabinowitz.
You're a legend. We love
And thank you for telling us about the falashas. Now that's our
Now we
mystery
know.
word for this week is the falashas.
Falasha.
Falasha. And
There we
if
go.
anyone wants a falasha, if you phone in now on the Radio Today all-hour number, we will send a falasha by post to your house.
To you. Thank you,
Phone
Nick.
now. Thanks, Nick.
Cheers.
Mark, thank you so much. I'm so
Thank you.
sorry
Is
we
that
didn't
it?
manage to get back to Ndumiso
Is that it?
because of the line.
Oh, my
But it
goodness.
is. And so
Is
we
it an
want
hour?
to say it's an hour.
Thank you very much.
Earlier I said, am I coming on for a full hour? And it's flown.
Are you coming to the grilling on Wednesday
I will
at
be at the
Parker's?
grilling, darling. I shall be there.
I
And
hope they're not
just
too rude.
Congratulations
Thank you
to
very
you.
much.
Lifetime Achievement
Thank you.
Award. You have brought so much laughter, joy, light to so many people. I know this is hard for you. Just listen to it, Mark. Eh?
Yeah.
Take it in. Take it in.
Oh, Nicky.
You're wonderful. Thank
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
you,
you.
Mark. It's been great. And thank you. I hope you've enjoyed the show.
And thanks for all the laughers out there, because without the laughers, we wouldn't be able to make you laugh.
We
if you
would
weren't
not.
there laughing.
We would
Thank
not.
you.
Take care until next week.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Conversations with Niki was brought to you by studyapps.co.za, South Africa's leading education app for tablets.